quick disclaimer, before we get into the definition of a narcissist, I am not a licensed therapist. However, I've had several experiences that led me to do research, extensive research on narcissism and trying to understand the cycle that victims get caught up in. Okay? So let's go ahead and get into the definition. Many people have heard different things about narcissists. Sometimes if they are interacting with someone who displays some type of selfishness and that's it, they'll say, oh, that person's a narcissist. Or maybe it's someone who broke their heart. Oh, that person has to be a narcissist. Well, no. In fact, if you do research, the true definition revolves around one concept: someone obsessed with their reflection. Someone who is always thinking based on being self-absorbed. Everything is about them. The world revolves around them, and you should too. And when you don't play their game and you don't do things their way, they punish you for that. Okay? So let's go ahead and just get into some traits of a narcissist. The first one would be selfishness, which I said they're extremely self-absorbed. Everything is all about them. How can you fit into the puzzle of their life to make it better? They don't love a person for who that person is. They love the person for what they can offer, just like any other inanimate object. It's very cold, extremely callous, but it's just the truth. Okay? The second point, they need constant admiration and supply. I emphasize constant because it is necessary for them to exist. Any type of supply, aka attention, is what they need. So whether it be negative, you getting upset at them, or positive, paying them a compliment, it's still a form of attention. Okay? Thirdly, and this is one of the many weird characteristics that they have, they both resent and love recognition. It definitely sounds off balance, but it's the truth. And if you've had any interactions or experiences with narcissists, you understand this makes perfect sense. Why is it when I'm showing this person affection, or I feel as if we're in a great place, it seems as if we're regressing, or they push me away? What is that about? Yes. They resent you and love you, or I'm not going to say love you. Let me correct myself. They love the admiration, I should say, and resent you all at the same time for providing it. It's a ball of confusion, and anyone who's functioning from an emotionally healthy place will not fully understand this, because it's really, really hard to conceive when you're not a narcissist, but please bear with me and just do the best you can. All right. And lastly, they thrive off of the cycle of idealization, devaluing, and discard. Okay. So you should be very familiar with this if you've had interactions with narcissists. Okay. So idealization, you're the best person they've ever met in the entire world. The minute you do something wrong or fall short of being perfect, they start to devalue you. Your worth goes down. Therefore, their behavior begins to change, and it just keeps getting worse until finally, when they find new supply, you're discarded, thrown away like trash. Some people go through constant cycles of this over and over before walking away. It's just horrible. The effects of this can cause major PTSD. I didn't know what I was going through, like I said, until I started to research it. I didn't even realize I was involved in 3 narcissistic relationships, actually, and didn't understand it. I just knew that something felt really, really off, and there was a major problem. Okay, so we'll get more into details in future videos regarding that. While doing research, I discovered that the term narcissist came from Greek mythology. Who would have thought? It gets even more interesting. If you want more details regarding this, please go ahead, like I said before, and do your own research. Look up the story. These are facts. Well, technically fiction, but the story in its existence, it's a fact. All right, back to it. Narcissist was a narcissist. Literally, he was obsessed with his own reflection. Wow. And he was so handsome. It was like everyone in the forest saw Narcissist and they said, I need him. But every time someone expressed it, he was vicious and mean to them. He was like, I know you all want me, but you can't have me. Meanwhile, the goddess of retribution was taking notes. Don't forget that fact. Moving on. There was one particular nymph named Echo. She was so sweet, saw Narcissus, and fell in love, head over heels. Now, technically, she was stalking him in the story. She was following him. Anyway, he figured out something weird was going on, and she decided it was time to make her move. Like, I'm going to show you that I'm interested. I think you're gorgeous, and I'm going to make my move. Yeah, that was a wrong decision because just like everybody else he rejected that admired him, she was rejected also. But that was a different type of hurt. The Oread nymph, Echo, felt rejected and disgraced after he pushed her off. And he was like, basically, I'm good. Like, you're not good enough for me. Oh, she took it really, really hard. It was a punch to the stomach. And as a result, she roamed around the woods for the rest of her life, just withering away. Until finally, she didn't exist anymore. The only remnants was an echo sound. Remember earlier when I said to take note of Nemesis, the goddess of retribution? Yeah, she saw what happened and didn't like how it went down. So, as a result, it was time to punish Narcissus. One day she led him to a pool, and he was like, oh, wow, this is nice here. What do I see? I see my own reflection. Of course, unlike anyone else he was around, he fell in love with his reflection because it's him, and he's the best, and it's all about him, right? So, of course, his reflection had to be real. I mean, it couldn't be fake. He thought his reflection was so perfect, and it was a real person. But he was wrong. And when he finally realized it, he got really depressed. There was no way his reflection was so perfect and it would ever materialize. And as a result, he killed himself. Although this story was very depressing, ultimately, based on what happened with Narcissus, because it's still sad that he kills himself in the end. And with the echo being the only remnants of the person who would have really shown him true love, it is a perfect depiction of how people who deal with narcissists experience their form of torment, because that's exactly what it is. And the story, it epitomizes everything that narcissism revolves around, right? Or revolves around, excuse me. A narcissist can never truly show love. They don't know their true self. right? And they don't believe they're valued. And as a result, how in the world can anyone else value them? No one can ever live up to who they feel is perfection, or I should say, what species they feel is perfection, because it's not even themselves. It's just a facade. Unlike the nymph Echo, you don't have to wither away. My motive after attaining knowledge about narcissistic individuals was to heal, and that's what I did. In the beginning, it felt impossible, but through verbal and written expression, I was able to confront certain circumstances, gain knowledge, and seek the Lord in prayer regarding how to forgive. I encourage you to do the same thing. Woohoo! We made it to the end of another video, winners. You're all awesome. Thank you so much for supporting me. I hope the information in this video was beneficial. Please like and share. Also, don't forget to subscribe. A few reminders, if you haven't done so already, go and check out my clothing line on teespring.com. I'll leave the link in the description box. Also, never forget, champions live for challenges, and you are all champions.